Brilliant. Close.
Okay. All right, guys, ready to start the next session? So I'm Hiro Ono from NASA JPL. I just got the approval to join this conference 3 days ago and got this slide approved 7 minutes ago. Congratulations for me. That's how NASA operates these days. Okay, so here's the plan. This is a long session. I'm gonna give the intro talk as quick as possible, as I promised to Ignacio. We'll see how I can do it. Then I'll pass to other speakers, which I will introduce at the end of my intro. All right, so let's dive in. Space is full of unknowns, as we all know, right? And that's the reason that we explore. And that's the reason that it is so hard, right? Because of those unknowns, once you go to space, particularly to the planetary environment that we've never been to, right? We experience many surprises. Just to give a few examples, Perseverance Mars 2020 rover. That's one of the purposes to take the samples that could be brought back to Earth. So, like about 3-4 years ago, we attempted the first sampling, coring, and everything went well, except in the end, we took the picture inside of the sample tube, and surprise, surprise, nothing was in there, right? What happened was that all the rocks crumbled to powder. Why it happened? On the ground, we used 5 rock types to test the drill like 700 times. Those 5 rock types identified from past missions, we thought everything's okay. It turned out this very first rock we sampled was much softer than everything that we anticipated, right? Another example, Osiris-Rex, that was the sample return mission from an asteroid. Before the mission was designed, we took every effort to identify its surface, and all the observations like thermal inertia and the radar and the polarization suggested that the surface must be very smooth as sand, beach. It turned out that after the spacecraft arrived, surprise, the asteroid was full of boulders, super rocky. There were positive surprises, right? One example is this: when Cassini went to Enceladus, that's one of the icy moons of Saturn, it found something very unexpected. That's gigantic geysers splaying out from its subsurface ocean. So suddenly Cassini turned into an astrobiology mission. So the point here being there's so many surprises everywhere when you actually launch a mission, right? So it's really operating a mission is really about how to adapt to uncertainty. So I categorize 3 mission paradigms, robotic space exploration paradigms, for convenience. And these are categorized based on how they dealt with the unknown unknowns, right? Again, for convenience, we call it RC 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0, okay? So 1.0, that's basically the pre-Apollo moon exploration. What NASA did was basically trial and error. Out of 20 missions to the moon, only 8 made to the moon. And that's basically what, commercial companies are doing these days. And nothing wrong about it because the moon is just 3 days away, right? So, we can do high cadence trial and error. That's the best way to learn about the environment, right? But it doesn't work for Mars. Why? Because it takes 6 to 7 months to get there. The launch opportunity comes up every 2 years. So you cannot just simply try and error for every month, right? So, RC 2.0 is very different. It's more cautious and incremental. The way it works is that, initially you have a lot of uncertainties. So you start with orbiters and flybys, you bring down the uncertainty, and then you plan the next mission, which is more sophisticated, more complex by exploiting that information. And then with that additional information, you will, with that mission, you will bring down uncertainty more, and then you finally fly highly complex mission like Perseverance and Curiosity. In this way, we sent like 14 missions to Mars in the past 4 decades, and that's how we build upon, build our success on Mars. Great. And I was a part of it. I was very proud of it. But this doesn't work for places beyond Mars, right? For example, there are many icy moons around Jupiter, Saturn, which are so fascinating. Some of them have subsurface oceans, which is of substantial interest because that might host life, right? For example, Enceladus again, right? Icy moons, geysers, 3 times bigger than Death Star, so probably not that big, right? Alien life might be there, so you know how to explore those environments. Um, the RC 2.0 ISK incrementalism doesn't work for anywhere beyond Mars, I argue, for 3 reasons. Right? One is that orbital reconnaissance doesn't make sense for subsurface. Two, long cruise time, 5 to 10 years. So if you wanna send 10 missions, good luck. They're gonna be 2 centuries maybe. Then there are many planets out there, not just Mars. Right? So we got to figure out something else. So that's the 3.0 paradigm. That's the topic today. It's about exploring unvisited world in one shot with radically adaptive space systems. It should work like this. This robot space systems, whatever you call it, gonna land directly on a new environment. And at the beginning, the uncertainty is so high, so you're gonna start with very simple, low risk behaviors, like raise his head and look around to figure out about the environment and bring down uncertainty. Then it adapts its behaviors either autonomously, either by learning or by grounding the loop, whatever. Then it starts doing something a bit more complex to move around, to learn more about the environment, gather more information, bring down uncertainty even further. With that, it could finally do something more complex, for example, going into the crevasse and head down to the subsurface ocean. So one example about such mission, we previously or still we are working on a mission project called EELS at JPL, which would explore subsurface ocean materializes. It's a snake mod. Why snake? Because it has so many mobility modes. It's highly adaptive rather than non-adaptive modes. So if it works out, it gets to the ocean and look for life, right? So just one slide about why it could be so adaptive. Rovers, or conventional rovers, has only a singular mobility mode, right? Driving. So when opportunity got stuck in sand, the only thing it could do is to keep spinning the wheels and cross the fingers, right? As opposed to a high dove robot like EELS, it has so many mobility modes. So when it got stuck in sand, all we had to do is just to switch the locomotion mode and it could get out from sand trap pretty easily. Okay, so I will skip all the great movies for the sake of time, but let's jump to the high-level concept. So, obviously this session is not about snake robot, right? It's much bigger than that. But what I think we need to realize this 3.0 paradigm is software-defined systems, space systems. As an example, right, take a look at the antenna. Traditionally, like antenna's physical shape, defines the antenna pattern, right? But these days, you can use active phased array to shape whatever wavefront. Or FPGA allows you to reconfigure the circuits, right? After you launch, by just sending up the software. Um, Likewise, if your robotic system has substantial flexibility, you should be able to radically change its behaviors by software rather than sending another spacecraft 10 years later. So that's the vision. And by the way, this is not just robotics. It spans out for the entire space systems from comm to propulsion to structure instrument of Linux. There are many emerging technologies. So the question is how to put them together and make a complete system. So as an advertisement, we're gonna have a KISS workshop, Keck Institute of Space Studies workshop in November. It's not an open for public workshop, but we're gonna publish the result later on. Lindy is going to be a part of it, and Chris Zachney from Honeybee would be a part of it. So it will be a great, venue for innovating next architecture of space systems. Okay, so let me briefly introduce how this section will go. So after this, Lindy Elkin-Stanton, she is a planetary scientist, of course you know, because she is going to give the planetary talk on Wednesday, I believe. So I invited her because she's going to talk about what are the big questions, right, unsolved in solar system. What we need, what are the challenges for roboticists to solve in the future, right? So that sets the stage for the session. Dean and Anika represent some aspects of solutions for making future robots radically adaptive, right? Dean for automated drilling, Anika for self-assembling structure. Another guy, Hiro Ono, I'm gonna call myself again, about showing examples from past missions about how existing missions adapted to anomalies and try to pull out the lessons from it. All right, so without further ado, I would invite Lindy to the stage. Lindy, please grab the screen and take away.
Okay, great.